We're here because free speech is under attack. We're here because people are being convinced that socialism works. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth.
A blockbuster poll for Donald Trump calls for Bob Menendez to resign, the migrant crisis intensifies, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. Former President Donald Trump is currently leading President Biden by 10 points among voters, according to a new poll. The Washington Post and ABC released the poll Sunday, which found that if the 2024 presidential election were held today, Trump would win 52% to 42% over Biden. Respondents also held a poor view of Biden's handling of the economy and the U.S.-Mexico border, in addition to his age. The Post downplayed the results of its own poll after it showed Trump with such a commanding lead. The sizable margin of Trump's lead in this survey is significantly at odds with other public polls that show the general election contest a virtual dead heat, the Post wrote Sunday. The difference between this poll and others, as well as the unusual makeup of Trump's and Biden's coalitions in this survey, suggest it is probably an outlier. Meanwhile, Biden's approval rating sits at 37% according to the poll, while 56% of respondents actively disapprove of his presidency. Biden is facing a crisis of confidence among his own party members as well, with roughly 60% of Democrat and Democrat-leaning respondents saying they would prefer a different nominee. Migrant encounters at the southern border soared past 200,000 mark once again in August, hitting a new high for the calendar year and marking the highest August on record, the latest sign that the raging crisis at the southern border is escalating despite a brief lull in the early summer. There were 232,972 migrant encounters at the southern border in August, according to Customs and Border Protection. That is an increase from the 204,087 encounters in August 2022, and an increase from the 183,494 encountered in July and the 144,570 encountered in June. It is the highest number of monthly encounters seen this year, although it is not the highest number seen this fiscal year, with both November and December 2022 seeing higher numbers. Of those encounters in August, which is the highest August on record, 181,059 were encountered by Border Patrol illegally between ports of entry. President Biden announced Friday that his administration was creating the first ever White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention. The office, which will be led by Vice President Kamala Harris, will attempt to address the epidemic of American gun violence and mass shootings. In remarks given during the announcement, Biden said he established the office to send a clear message about how important this issue is to me and to the country. It matters, adding that his administration has announced dozens of executive actions to reduce gun violence. The office is the latest push by the Biden administration to crack down on shooting deaths, with the president working to pass bipartisan legislation on gun control. The announcement received mixed reactions, given Kamala Harris's previous failures as border czar, among other issues. Senator Bob Menendez, the Democrat from New Jersey, rejected calls for his resignation on Friday, hours after he and his wife were indicted on federal charges of bribery and corruption. The couple is accused of engaging in a corrupt relationship with New Jersey businessmen as well as accepting bribes from numerous parties, including the government of Egypt. Federal agents are alleged to have found more than $500,000 and numerous gold bars stashed in the senator's home. This marks the second time that Menendez has been federally indicted, and many in Congress have called for him to step down. In a statement, though, Menendez said he would continue to fight for the people of New Jersey. I am not going anywhere. Several Senate Democrats appearing on Sunday talk shows expressed shock about the bribery allegations, but stopped short of joining Senator John Fetterman in calling for him to resign. It is hard for me to believe that Senator Menendez can be effective in his job given these allegations. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, echoing Fetterman and leading New Jersey Democrats, said it was in the best interest for Senator Menendez to resign. The Writers Guild of America declared victory Sunday after reaching a tentative deal with major Hollywood studios that would end a months-long strike. The proposed 3-year contract, which still must be ratified by the union's 11,500 members, would boost pay and residual checks for streaming shows and impose new rules about the use of artificial intelligence. WGA leaders said they were going through the contract details to ensure the last I is dotted. The studios are expected to focus now on breaking an impasse over a tandem strike by the actors union SAG-AFTRA. The rare dual strikes have forced studios to delay major film releases like Warner Brothers' Dune Part 2 because striking actors can't promote their films. The United States will open 2 new embassies in the Cook Islands and Niue. President Biden is expected to announce on Monday. The announcement of the new diplomatic missions comes as Biden is slated to host leaders from the Pacific Islands as part of a continued effort to strengthen ties in the region against a growing Chinese influence. The recognition of the Cook Islands and Niue could also be compounded by another potential embassy in Vanuatu, which the United States is currently negotiating to open. Some Pacific leaders have chosen to skip the summit, though, arguing that the U.S. has not done enough to protect their interests in the Pacific or help derail the threat of climate change. Amazon's flagship streaming service will soon be implementing a widely seen industry feature as the company announced Friday that Prime Video will soon feature advertisements. The ad rollout is slated to begin in 2024, though an exact time frame was not announced. Prime Video has been one of the few remaining streaming services that didn't feature ads, and users will still be able to watch Prime without them for an extra $2.99 a month. The company added that the price of a standard Prime Video subscription would not be increased. Streaming services like Netflix, Max, and Disney Plus, which were also previously ad-free, have similarly shifted to ad-based content. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth at xvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.